Alright, it's time for a new project. This time it's Young Miniatures Landsnack bust, and this is something I've had for years on the shelf, and I've brought it out, as you can see on the left there, one of my older dioramas videos. Anyhow, I started off with a square block base that I got off of Amazon, and I burned it with a torch to give it the effect that I wanted for the wood finish. And I used a lamp vinyl for the post to hook into the figure, and these vinyls are what you put at the end of a lamp to hook the lampshade on. You can buy these sometimes at hardware stores or online for sure. Thought it was a little bit nicer, gave it a little bit more of a classy look. I had already primed all the parts in the figures, and this is just something I've worked on the side here and there, and then I really picked it up the other day when I had the oils out, and I said I'm just going to finish it. So the face was, after the gray primer, I just hit it from the top to give it a zenithal toned so I could see the highlights and shadows. And then I used acrylic paints, as you can see here, to try something that a lot of the miniature painters use for doing glazing. On the Momentum YouTube page, he uses these colors a little bit different than what I did. And then he glazes over with thinned flesh tone paint after he puts down this very contrasty highlight and shadows. I thought I could try by putting oil paints over it and not have to work as much as all the time spent for glazing over this, because you have to just slowly glaze over until you finally just barely see all these highlights and shadows. So anyway, this was a test, and that's why I've ended up finishing this. So as you can see here, it's pretty contrasty with the highlight and the shadow, and then the darker shadow with the blue. This was going to be my basis. So once that's done, I get out the artist oils. I've got them. My palette here is a piece of, I think it's like lucite acrylic, so nothing really sticks to it really well. I can wipe these off at the end. I really had to work to get the tone I wanted with the blue, the yellow, the sienna, white, until I got what I wanted. When you put the oils down, you want to really spread them out. They don't go on thick. You're not trying to cover the surface, how do I say, completely. You want to cover it to where it's put on so thin that underneath is showing through a little bit. I think I could have worked it a little bit more, but anyhow. So once I put it on, then I start putting in some more shadows, because it really didn't give me what I wanted. I'm going to keep trying this on another bust that I have, so you might see another video out on this. So anyway, I've put the shadows in here with raw sienna, or I'm sorry, raw umber, and they're just put obviously in the same places where the shadow was before, as you can see here. And then I blend with a clean, dry brush. And I don't mean dry brush it, I mean the brush is dry, it's not wet or anything, but it's clean. And this tones the two parts together with a stabbing, stippling motion. And you're going to see that I constantly clean the brush. You're going to see this throughout whenever I talk about blending. You're constantly cleaning the brush so you're not distorting the other places that you blend. And now I'm going to add a highlight. You can see there the colors I use for the highlight. And obviously they're going to go basically in the places that you saw earlier. I put the acrylics, and now I'm putting them on the oils. So basically I could have done this without those acrylics underneath, but I think it actually in the long term worked, because as I started doing some of the blending, it definitely started showing underneath, I think. And you can see here once again the blending of the highlight into what I had already blended before. and you'll start seeing the process come to life. Clean the brush and blend some more, as you can see here. If you have figures like this that you can practice on, it would be great. You can practice on really anything, even on a canvas if you wanted to, or a sheet of paper. And here you can see everything blended so far. It's kind of plain, but we're going to change that. So then I added a little bit of red tone to bring out some more life in the face. And you can see me here blending it in. You're using very little oils. I throw away more oils than I put. Clean the brush and blend. And like I said, you can practice this on a piece of cardboard, on a canvas, something else. Clean the brush and then stipple, just kind of stab at it just to blend the two together. It's a very subtle technique, but you'll see how it turns out after everything's done. You can see I had it to the lips, to the cheeks, and that's so far what we've got. And here you can see a little bit better. I don't know why it looks better behind in front of the black, but all right. Once again, I've added another highlight and I'm blending those in. And now I'm going to add a 5 o'clock shadow with some blue. And I actually added some of the raw umber into it to darken it up. You could add black to this. He had lighter colored hair, so I wanted to keep it not quite as dark as a 5 o'clock shadow. That's why I used this tone. If he had black hair, I would have definitely mixed black with the blue. And this is going to bring more life into the figure as well to blend in the 5 o'clock shadow. And you'll start seeing as you do more and more, you'll get used to it, and you can do lots of effects here. I could have put marks in his face, scars, blemishes, whatever. All right, now I used AK markers to just paint in the armor. I'm going to do a lot more to the armor than this, but this is the start. As I said, I started this figure a couple of years ago, and I'd already had painted the chainmail part a dark blue black. So that's why you see that already done. And here is the next step. I'm going to paint the glove, and I used artist oils for the glove. I wanted it to have a different texture than that cloth piece that goes around his neck, which I end up using acrylics for. And once again, I didn't underpaint this. I could have, but I wasn't worried too much about this color. If I had some highlights that it created, that was good. And here I'm adding shadows to it, the same way I did on the face. And once these shadow tones are put into the crevices and anywhere, light's not going to hit as much, those are where you're going to put it. Then just a thin bit of oils. And then with the face, I just blend it all in. Clean the brush. You're going to see this through the video, and then blend it in. It's actually quite enjoyable and works a lot faster than the glazing technique with acrylics. It's just a lot easier to do on larger figures, obviously. All right. And now I am blending in the highlights, and it really helps make that glove come to life. Everything is pretty shiny when oils dry completely. They have to be dried completely, which may take a day or two. Then is when I spray it with a matte varnish, and it really sets it off too when you do that, because a lot of times 9 times out of 10 the oils are going to dry glossy, and sometimes they look good that way, sometimes they don't, and that's when you're going to use your discretion whether to use a matte varnish. The armor, I didn't want shiny armor, I wanted it like that, So after looking at it, I used a little bit of blue and umber and white, and I did a stippling dry brush over the armor. As you can see on the left, I wanted that effect. So I thought this might be the way to give me the best effect, and this was also put on the helmet. I didn't do it on the chainmail yet. I'm going to do something a little different on that later. And then just with acrylic ochre yellow paint, I just highlighted the hair, which I had already underpainted black brown, just to bring out all the highlights in his hair. As you can see, there's the ochre that I used for it. And then with it's actually brass. It looks gold to me, but it's a brass acrylic. I painted some of the highlights, obviously this chain, and also on some of the buckles on these leather straps. And the leather straps were painted with acrylics. I had a color called leather belt, which I used, but I will later accent it a little bit more. And then, since I was going to be using a few tones with the acrylics, I made a wet palette. You can see here, out of paper towels and a sheet of wax paper, your homemade wet palette. And then, as you can see here, mixing these two colors together on my wet palette, I started painting the shirt. You can paint these Lansnecks either with like blue piping, red piping, green piping, but I wanted the shirt to be a linen color, so I picked tones, acrylic tones, to represent acrylics. And then with red acrylic paint, I went over and painted all the stripes on the shirt. I didn't do too much shading to the red. You don't have to shade red that much on larger figures, but if you do, you can use blue or brown to shade dark colors. And then you can see the colors I used, tones for the wood, old wood and new wood. And as you can see, this is how I added it. I didn't paint it on, I kind of dry brushed heavily, so that way it wouldn't just look painted and some of the colors would show through the other tones. And then, as I said before, I needed to use silver for the chainmail, and I did kind of a hard dry brush on that with silver acrylic paint. Just take your time, do a little bit here and there until you work it up until you get a pleasing, convincing effect of chainmail. And once again, I used a blue in with the black. And then I also highlighted some of the pieces of the armor to give them like a finish that, you know, that it's worn, it's been used, it's not polished. I wanted this guy to look like he's been out there a while. And I highlighted, obviously, some of the accents on the helmet and some of the designs around the trim of the helmet. It was all accessed with the silver. These larger busts are just really enjoyable to paint. And then on the sword, any part of the silver up here, I added a little bit of a wash, kind of the brass. It looks gold, and I just wanted to antique that color a little bit that was already on there, and that's how I did it. And now for one of the most important parts, the eyes. Archer sells eyeball decals, different sizes. As you can see here, I got a bunch of different sizes. I don't think those will work for 35th scale. They're a little bit big, those smaller ones. These decals are cool. You don't use any solvent. You just soften them with water as a regular decal and slide them right on, and that's it. And once they're in, you can cover them up with any type of clear or matte varnish you would like. And they work out great. I could have tried painting the eyeballs, but I know I would never gotten as good as this. And here's the final reveal. It was a pleasure to paint. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice break from the other projects I've been working on. It always gives me more time to learn new techniques and work on things that I've been thinking of trying. It's an excellent bust. I recommend it. So I just want to appreciate everyone who has liked my videos. And let me tell you, thanks so much for subscribing. I don't really ask for subscribers because I wanted to see how many subscribers I could get without asking. And you guys have really come through. You guys are the special ones who've subscribed without asking. So I really appreciate it. Leave me a strong arm. And thanks for watching. And I'm working on some more stuff. I'm really getting into it. It takes time, so the videos won't come out all of the time, but I'm working on it. Thank you.